Alright, tonight we're going to be doing breakfast burritos. And I don't know if you guys eat potatoes as much as we do here in Idaho. I didn't realize other people don't eat potatoes for every single meal like we do here, but let me know if it's common for you to have potatoes 4 to 5 times a week like it is for us. First of all, you're going to need 8 potatoes. We're feeding a family of 3 adults and 2 children, so the equivalent of 4 adults. We have 8 medium-sized potatoes here. These say Idaho potatoes, but the potatoes that we actually grow here in Idaho are way, way bigger than this. And this is all we have access here, or all we have access to here in Idaho is these pitiful-looking things that they tell us is Idaho potatoes. But anyway, you're just going to wash these off really good and use a small little scrub brush and dice all these up and then add them to, this is the skillet we're going to be cooking them in, but for right now we just have it full of cold water. This helps rinse off all that excess starch. You might notice this ring that's on my index finger here. This is my chopping ring, so I don't get a blister when I chop, because for some reason I have learned how to hold my knife by choking the top of the blade, just like that, and I get a blister every time. So my husband came up with this idea that I wear a ring on that finger, and that keeps my finger from getting a blister against the top side of that blade. And I've tried to hold the knife like this, and it just seems unsafe, so I hold it, I choke it way up here, just like that. And I have lots of butcher knives. This cheap one here is one of my best ones for cutting potatoes. Thanks. When you put them in the cold water like this too, it keeps them from turning all brown. And I cut the ends off because the ends are usually a little bad looking. We also have 1 onion here that we're going to chop when we're done with chopping these potatoes. And if you find little brown spots while you're putting them in there, just pick those out. You can probably eat them, but I don't like to. This one here is pretty skinny, so I'm just going to cut this one into 3rds instead of 4ths. And just rock the tip of your knife all the way back. Rock it back. And then angle it just slightly like this. That'll help keep all your potatoes from falling right where your work surface is. Then when they fall off the back side of the knife. And you'll notice these are kind of tall, and they don't really look like diced hash browns yet, but when you start cooking these, they will naturally break right down the center, right there once you start cooking them. So there's no need to go through and thin slice them. Alright, now that you got these all in there, you just give them a little stir, and you see how murky that water is getting? Just helps get all that starch off of those. We're going to drain these, not like super duper well. You want to leave just a couple of drops, maybe a tablespoon worth of water in there. So you just drain them off using your hand to hold the potatoes back, and that should be perfect. And then we're going to chop this onion before we get done with this knife. The trick to using a knife safely is make sure that when you're cutting, your fingernails are always straight up and down. And that way, if your knife ever does hit your finger, it should just slide down the outside edge of your nail instead of chopping your finger off. And then just make sure they're all accounted for. Just like this. But once you get really good at it, and you haven't cut yourself in a few years, you get a little cocky, and then You have to cut your finger a couple of times to learn your lesson again. Okay, we're just going to leave these right here because we're not going to need them for about 15 minutes. All right, and then after you get those drained off, let me show you how much, just a little bit of water left in the bottom, about that much. That just helps them steam while they're cooking. Then we're going to add half of a stick of butter. We're going to turn this on high. And you only stir this about every 5 minutes or so. Well, add some salt and pepper. Probably want at least a teaspoon of each. I like a little extra pepper on my hash browns. Okay, now we're going to get the sausage going. Alright, you're just going to use a medium size. This might be a large size to you guys, but this is a medium size saucepan or frying pan to me. I got 1 pound of sausage here. We're going to cook that on medium heat. And we're going to add 1 dozen of eggs to it. This is going to be a really protein-rich meal tonight. We got protein in the sausage, protein in the eggs, and then we're also going to be sprinkling it with cheese, which also has protein. So, build some muscle for winter. Okay, and then right about after you hear it sizzling for a couple of minutes and your butter hasn't melted yet, you want to go ahead and stir in all those seasonings. Get that butter down to the bottom so it can get melting. Just remember, you don't want to stir hash browns too much or you won't get that crispy coating on the outside that makes them crunch. Putting them in burritos, we're going to need extra crunch. Right. Oh, give those hash browns a stir. It's starting to smell so good. Right. And here in about 5 more minutes, they've already been cooking for about 5 minutes. About 5 more minutes, we're going to add in that diced onion. And keep this on high so you can get those nice crispy outside edges. And I just used this meat musher thing I got. I don't know what this is actually called, but I always call it a meat musher. Chop that up. And you want to make sure to cook this on medium heat because you need some of that sausage grease to cook the eggs. No sense in putting an extra butter in here when naturally it's in your sausage. Okay, let's see, that's just about ready. Alright, let's add the eggs. We're going to add 12 eggs. I'm going to crack my eggs directly into the skillet, but if you don't trust yourself with eggshells, just feel free to crack them into a bowl off to the side. One, two, don't even worry about breaking them up now. You don't need to turn the heat down. Oh, didn't hit that one hard enough. 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nobody wants to watch me crack 12 eggs. Or do they? Ooh, that was a tiny yolk. Let's add 1 extra one because some of those were a little bit skimpy. So we got 13 eggs in here, a baker's dozen. You're just going to want to leave this on high heat till your scrambled eggs are most of the way cooked through, and then you're going to slowly start turning it down the closer they get to done. soon as that all starts turning white, we're just going to start turning down that burner. We're not going to add any salt and pepper to this because the sausage already has flavor in it. And we already have plenty of salt and pepper in our hash browns. Let's give our hash browns a stir real quick. Starting to get some brown edges. Oh, so pretty. All right, let's get those onions in there. There we go. Now we'll stir those around so they can start getting all fragrant. Our hash browns are only about halfway done right now. But they're still pretty firm. You can tell when you're stirring them how done they are just by how firm they still are. Okay, at this point, probably going to want to stay right here so we can stir constantly. Nobody likes burnt egg. Okay, we got pretty thick here. Let's go ahead and turn our burner down a little bit. And don't worry about those hash browns over here. They are not going to burn. And if they do, that's good. Look at all those golden pieces starting to come up. Alright, and as soon as your hash browns get all brown and crispy, just exactly the way you like them, they're not quite done, as you can tell just by pressing on one. If it breaks apart easy, then it's done. But that still has a little firmness to it. Okay, so we're going to turn that down to about medium. We've had it on high this whole time. And we're going to grab our lid here. We're going to put that lid on there and cook it for about 5 more minutes. And then just when your scrambled eggs, you got a little tiny bit of moisture left in them still, that's when you're going to want to turn them off. And you're just going to leave them right here in the pan and they'll finish cooking. And any bits that are stuck to the bottom are going to be loosened up while it's resting here. And they're going to come right out. Okay, and I'll be back in about 5 more minutes to check on those potatoes. Oh, don't forget to turn off that burner. All right, it's been about 5 minutes. I didn't set a timer. We're going to take this lid off. Make sure to drip all that excess steam into the pot. And use a pot mitt because that lid's going to be real hot. We're going to need that in just a second, so don't take it away too far. Let's give these a little test here. Oh, so tender. Look at that. These pieces are breaking if you try to stir it right now. Watch this. It's just like mashed potatoes. Look at that explosion. Oh, yum. So yummy. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn this off. There we go. Now we're going to add in our egg and sausage. Very carefully, because since it sat here for a couple minutes, it's going to all try to fall out in one giant glob. Let's see what happens here. Ooh, yes. Alright, let's get the rest of that out of there. Let me show you what the bottom of the pan looks like. See how nothing's really stuck? It just comes away with my spatula. Now after you get all that egg and sausage dumped into those hash browns, you're just going to carefully, because you don't want to break those potatoes into mashed potatoes, which you could do very easily right now if you're not careful. Okay, nice and slow. We're just using the back of our spoon to press it toward the middle and turn. Press toward the middle and turn. I've been cooking for about, probably takes about 25 minutes. We're going to take 8 tortillas because we're feeding 4 people. And then you're just going to layer them in this beautiful circle. Make it look all nice and pretty for you. Just like this. And then we're going to put that lid back on and we're going to let that rest for a few minutes. Okay, be right back. Oh yeah, that lid's still pretty hot. Make sure to use your oven mitt.
Yes.
Okay, see you in 5 minutes. Oh, these are perfectly heated through and soft. So just going to take one right off the top, just like this. Put it right over here on the side. And then to get to the rest of them, you take that very bottom one there and you just roll this up. There you go. And that keeps those really nice and warm. And of course, when this side of the pan gets empty, you swap positions with where the tortillas are at. There we go. If there's leftovers, this is what we're having for lunch tomorrow. This is a great lunch. Okay, and then you're going to want to put that lid on. Keep those warm while everybody else is coming in here to serve themselves. Okay, and then to serve these up, you just put about almost a cup's worth of the burrito mixture on a tortilla. Make sure you save a little bit of room down here at the bottom. Spread some cheddar cheese on that. I wouldn't really recommend any other kind of cheese. And then just a tiny little bit of sour cream. Put some hot sauce on there. This is good hot sauce. Okay, and then you're just going to grab it from both sides here. Hold it together in the center. Fold that bottom piece in. And then slowly and carefully, you don't want to press too hard or you'll blow the back of it open. And you just roll it together just like that. See you next time.